Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing this morning? I hope your day is off to a wonderful, fantastic start. If this is your very first time here, hi, my name is Carrington. Not your first time here, hi, welcome back. If you enjoy any and all things makeup related, definitely go ahead, hit that subscribe button, click the little bell, so that way you can join this dumpster fire of a family. And let's go ahead and let's get into today's video. So for today's video, I figured I would do a little chit chat, get ready with me, talking about my experience with a healthcare journey. I thought maybe this would raise awareness to other people if they're going through this, similar things. And I'm going to be doing a face using a ton of my Give Me Glow products. It's definitely one of my favorite brands. I will leave everything that I use linked down below, just because for the most part, I'm just going to be like chit-chatting and going. So if you guys are excited for this video, wondering what my healthcare journey has been like, then definitely keep on watching. So first off, we're just going to go ahead and start priming the eyelids. I do the eyes first. So we're going to start off with the eyes. First, I'm going to go in with the eyeshadow primer from Give Me Glow. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about some stuff that has been going on for seriously years and nobody was doing anything about. I mean, like, they kind of were, but, like, they kind of weren't. And you're probably like, what? Yeah, so let me go ahead. Let me just start diving in. So I'm a type 1 diabetic, which means I have been a diabetic since I was 2. So with type 1 diabetes, it is not the same as type 2. With type 1 diabetes, it usually is because your immune system is like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And, like, attacks your pancreas and causes your pancreas to no longer be a working, functioning organ. So basically, that means that you will forever be on insulin. Not like insulin, not like medication type pills like your grandpa might be on, who is taking probably like metformin and having to check his blood. I'm talking, I have to check my blood and I have to either have an insulin pump, which I have, or I have to have shots like my daughter has. If I ever go without a shot and I eat and I go sky high and I still don't give any insulin, I will go into DKA and potentially die. Most of the time for type 2 diabetics, you know, they might be able, you know, to eat crappy, have high blood sugars, but may not go into DKA because their pancreas is still producing some insulin. So just wanted to kind of clear that up. So I have been a type 1 diabetic for a very, very long time. And since I was about, I want to say a teenager-ish, I have had hypothyroidism. So that means like my thyroid levels are a little bit low. And I have been on a medication for a very long time. And honestly, it worked. I had no issues. Everything was fine. So, you know, then I want to say after my daughter was born. Was it right after my daughter was born? Yes. So right after my daughter was born, I had noticed that, like, I just wasn't feeling really well, and I was losing weight, pretty rapidly, actually, like, very, very, very rapidly, and so I went to my endocrinologist, who ran some labs, and this time I had hyperthyroidism, so now my thyroid is working in overgear, which does cause you to lose some mass amount of weight. So we stopped my thyroid medication, which obviously makes that worse, and just kind of waited to see because I now had thyroiditis. So basically that means that my levels of my thyroid are just bouncing around all over the place. And she said usually it takes about 1 to 2 years after the birth of a child for your thyroid to go back to whatever levels it's going to be, whether it be too high, too low, or, you know, just right. Well, I had immediately gotten pregnant with my son when my daughter was like 6 months old. He was a surprise baby. I was on birth control and breastfeeding. Yeah, surprise. And so after I had given birth to my son, which he just turned 7 at the beginning of this year, I was noticing that, you know, I was not feeling really well. And again, it was because I had thyroiditis, and So they said that I had to wait. And so finally, after he was about a year and a half, 2 years old, my thyroid level stayed the same. And so before, where I had hypothyroidism and was having to take meds, it seemed like now my thyroid was in working order. Like it was always on the low side of normal, but the TH levels were fine. They were great. So they didn't put me back on my thyroid medicine, nothing like that. And I just noticed this, like, over the years, my symptoms just kept getting more and worse. And I had made appointments with GI, PCP, primary care doctor, an OBGYN, a maternal fetal medicine doctor. Like, I was going to all of these appointments and nobody was able to answer any of my questions. Because they were like, well, what you're describing sounds like your thyroid, but when we take your blood, your thyroid is on the low end of normal, but it's still normal, so we don't have any reason to give you any thyroid medication. And so the symptoms that I really started experiencing were hair loss. So I used to have such thick hair. Like, every time I went to go get my hair cut, I usually get my hair cut every 6 months to a year. I know I need to go more than that, but I'm just busy. Okay. Every 6 months to a year, and we would have to thin it because it was just so thick. It was just so thick. But my hair has just been falling out in just clumps. I mean, just clumps of hair. I can just run my fingers through my hair like this and just clumps will just come out. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so finally, it was the end of last year where she was like, oh, is something going on with your hair? Do you have something? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, your hairs are very thin. She's like, I know we normally have to shear it out. And I've been going to the same girl since college, so since 2011. So 11 years now. She's like, but your hair, literally, you have bald spots in your hair. And I really do have some very much thinning in my hair. I have a bald patch right in here. My hair is thinning. And I was like, I've been bringing that up to my doctors, but nothing. So then she said, hey, go see a dermatologist, because if you do have alopecia, they would be able to tell you what kind of alopecia you have and start a treatment for you, if it's possible to have treatment. So I did make an appointment with a dermatologist. But during this time, I was also experiencing where I'm just tired all the time. I want to sleep all of the time. I'm just so tired. I can go to bed at 7 o'clock at night and not wake up till 9, 10 the next morning. And that's a lot of sleep. But for me, it's yeah, that's plenty. And then I still feel just so fatigued and just so tired, throughout the day. Cold. I'm cold all of the time. Seriously, I am freezing. My house is usually sat at 73, 74 year round, and everybody else is complaining, but even then I'm cold, and I'm underneath blankets or wearing sweatshirts all around the house, and everybody else is wearing shorts and cutoff shirts or whatever the case may be, and I am just sitting here just absolutely freezing. Another thing is just a low sex drive. Before my son was born, it was all the time. Now I'm just ugh, this sounds awful. This doesn't sound like this is gonna be a good time. And I do not know why. I know it's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for just in general. It's just very frustrating, and I get that. And so I went to doctors, and they're like, well, your diabetes could play a role in this. And it's okay, fine, but my diabetes actually isn't really doing that bad. So I would understand if my, A1C was sky high, but it's actually fairly decent. It's fairly good. So I don't understand why this is an issue. And then, and then just, I don't know, it's been a journey. Then I just have a lot of brain fog. I just can't remember anything, which could be ADHD as well, because that is very, very prevalent in my family. But I feel I used to have really good memory, used to be able to like almost like photographic memory in a way. And now I go to the laundry room and I can't, with the laundry basket in my hand, and I can't remember why I went there in the first place. Like, it's very frustrating, very disheartening. So, let's see. My hair is dry. My skin is dry. Just like everything about it is dry. My hairdresser was like, wash your hair the least amount of time as possible. She's like, once a week. She's like, but if you can go longer than that, do. She's like, because then you can get some of your natural oils. I'm focusing on like working my hair in. I'm taking Rogaine for women. I'm putting that in my hair twice a day. I also have another one where I put it in just at night. I usually put my Rogaine in a few hours before this, and then the other one I put in right before bed. I'm taking biotin. I'm taking collagen. I've been doing all of these things, and I feel like it's helping slightly, but it's still just like my hair's just coming out in clumps. And I was just so frustrated. So finally, I got a new primary care doctor who is just like a blessing in disguise. I just want to first and foremost say that. She's a little blessing in disguise. But I just went to her and I was like, I just don't know what to do. I've gone to my OBGYN because I've been diagnosed with like PCOS before, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which means like your testosterone and estrogen levels are usually just like all over the place. And so she was like, okay, I told them that they ran labs and my hormones look great. No issues with my hormones. We have tried birth control, which it seems like I'm allergic to birth control because no matter what birth control they put me on, I just bleed for weeks at a time. And so they're just like, well, I don't think you're going to be able to take birth control, anymore. So, which is fine because like I'm not having any more kids. My husband had a vasectomy, so we're not really worried about anything like that. But, it still just wasn't giving me answers as to why I'm having all of these symptoms. I'm also experiencing and have been since my son was born. Before my son was born, I was like in the 150s, 160 range. And after my son was born, even though like my diet and exercise didn't change, I have gained so much weight. I've gained like 80 pounds in those 7-year span. And what's also odd is just like I don't really eat like a whole lot. So like since then, whenever I do eat something, I just feel very bloated, very just like ugh, afterwards. And sometimes I could take up to 4 or 5 bites of a meal and then just literally just be like, I can't eat anymore. And then, I might be hungry like 3-4 hours later, but it's not like my eating has changed, my exercise habits. Like I walk the dogs. I have a free gym membership with work. Like I have been working out. And the part that's just like insane to me is I still am not losing any weight. I am gaining weight. I have been put on a medication, 2 medications, Phentermine and Topamax is what it's called. I was put on both of those, which are supposed to help you lose weight. So I was put on those to try to lose some weight, and nothing. I did not lose anything. I didn't really gain anything, but I didn't lose anything either. And you can't keep taking those Phentermine med for like long periods of time. So basically we used it for 6 months and just nothing happened. So finally my primary care doctor was like, unfortunately we can't keep you on something that's just not working. And during this time I was still exercising. I met with a dietitian fitness coach where I was on a very strict like weight loss regimen. Like this is how often I need to like work out. This is like the kinds of meals like I need to eat. We also even tried like the shake and meal plan that a lot of people have tried, where like I drink 2 shakes, one for breakfast, one for lunch, and then have like a good sized meal, but still within a certain amount of calorie range. And we came up with a list of tons of meals, for me to try. And it just felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere. Which sucks. It just felt like no matter what, like I just wasn't losing any of the weight. So finally, after another, year and a half of this, I go to my primary care doctor again, and I was like, listen, something has to be done. Like, I cannot have my hair just fall out and me go bald, which, like, in the grand scheme, like, I know it's not the end of the world, but I love my hair. I used to love my hair so much. I don't really love it as much now, but it's the fact that I personally love my hair. There's some people that, like, choose to go bald or, like, do for medical reasons, and I'm not saying, like, they're not beautiful or anything. I'm just saying, like, for me personally, I love my hair. I love having long hair where I can do really cute, fun hairstyles with it and things like that, and that's something that, like, I personally just, like, really miss. And it's just disappointing that like, I'm not getting anywhere. Like, I'm not getting the answers that I want. So finally she drew my thyroid labs again. It was still on, like, the overall TSH, again, it was on the low end of normal, but still, normal. My T4 was a little bit on the low end. It was, like, right below being normal. And so she was like, okay, well, we'll go ahead. We'll put you on levothyroxine. So we'll put you on that. See if this starts helping to alleviate any of your symptoms. And it kind of did, I'm not going to lie. I don't think it was, like, overnight where I was like, wow, revolutionary, like, anything like that. It was definitely, a long progress. And I feel like it kind of got a little bit better. But again, I wasn't like jumping up and down with, like, the amount of progress that we were making. And so again, I went to my endocrinologist. So I used to have an endocrinologist, which usually does things with, like, metabolic diseases or generally, like, type 1 diabetes, like your endocrine system is usually what they deal with. Endocrine system. I went, and usually I meet with a male guy, but I've only met with him, like, once. So this time I was going to meet with his physician assistant, so I'd never met her before. And usually you're blocked for about, 30-minute time period. So I was only expecting to be there for, the 30-minute time slot. I was there for 2.5 hours. Yeah, I was there for 2.5 hours. I'm like, geez. But anyways, yeah, so I was there for 2.5 hours. And basically, I just started laying this all out on the table for her. I was like, I don't know what else to do. So she did call and asked for the lab results to be faxed ASAP. And she was like, in all your time since having your kid and having that thyroiditis, were you ever checked for anything else? Were you ever checked for, like, Cushing's disease? Were you ever checked for, like, Hashimotos? Were you ever, ever just checked for anything else? And I looked at her and I was like, no, never. And so she goes, a lot of these symptoms that you are talking about is very consistent with Hashimoto's disease. She said, or it could be Cushing's disease as well. She goes, but nobody's ever addressed anything like that. And I said, no, because ever since my son was born, my A1C has been in, like, that low normal range, but it's still normal. So they're just like, oh, it's normal. We don't need to do anything else. And so she's like, okay. She was like, well, you're on levothyroxine. She goes, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a lot of blood work. When I tell you a lot of blood work, I'm talking a lot of blood work was done. And we're just going to see how things go. So I left that day, which was a Friday. I went and got lab work done on Saturday or Sunday. So basically, with the lab draws, she ordered, I had to have 10 vials of blood taken. And then, there's, like, the normal, like, size tubes. Well, I had to take 3 that were, like, 2 times, like, they were, like, as if there were 2 of these, like, tiny little vials. So that's, like, one thing that I had to, like, do. So I took all that blood. I had to do like a clean urine catch sample, which is actually really normal because I do that to check to see, make sure my kidneys are functioning well. Like that's the whole point of it. So I took that, and then I had to do, this was like the worst part, a 24-hour urine catch in a jug. Yes, a jug. So basically I had to go and pee in a jug. I peed in like a little like container, and then I would like pour it into the jug, and then you had to screw on the lid really tight, and then you would put it in the fridge. And every time you went, you just do that, just keep putting it in the fridge. And I was just like, oh boy, all right. So I went and dropped all of that off on Sunday, and I want to say Thursday morning, I finally got a call. I finally was able to find out what's wrong with me. Sorry, my dogs were barking. So I got my results, and so first things first is I have high cortisol levels, which is sometimes a little bit consistent with Cushing's, but the 24-hour urine did not show that. My liver enzymes are still elevated. So I had mentioned a while back that I had high liver enzymes. I had an ultrasound and it didn't show anything, but it showed that like my lab results were on the decline. Now it just kind of seems like it's just kind of hanging out above normal, which I'm not really for sure what we're supposed to do about that, because the ultrasound literally showed nothing was wrong. Like there wasn't really anything wrong with my liver. So I'm not really for sure like what our next step with that is going to be, but so my liver enzymes were still a little bit elevated, but it did finally come back that I have Hashimoto's disease. So basically what this means is that sometime like after I gave birth, or had gotten sick, or something like that, my antibodies began to go and attack my thyroid, thinking that it was an issue as well. And although my labs were, for the most part somewhat normal, considering I was experiencing these symptoms, we could have easily have gone on to, and they didn't also when they did my thyroid levels, they only checked for like T4 and what is it called? Just like the overall TSH. Whereas for the lab work that I got done, I got the T3, T4, and the overall TSH. Again, the overall TSH was like the low end of normal. My T4 was, again, the low end of normal, but before it was below normal. So that means like the levothyroxine was working in that aspect. But my T3 was also still just like a little bit low, and levothyroxine only covers like the T4. So I had to get, a different thyroid medication. So I've just started that. I went and picked it up on, I want to say Friday. So I went and picked it up on Friday. Started taking it on Saturday because it's a morning med. You need to take it before, an hour before you like eat or drink anything. You do have to drink like a thing of water whenever you take like a cup of water, but then you just like, you don't eat or drink anything for an hour. So, I'm hoping that like this is going to go better. I'm still using my Rogaine for women. My endocrinologist did say when I run out of like this 3-month supply, because I get it in like the 3-month supply, that I could actually go for like the Rogaine with men. And so then the next thing that they kind of recommended is that they are kind of showing that a more holistic group, some of their patients are really doing well with like an anti-inflammatory diet, which includes like limited amount of gluten, or just going gluten-free period, or in like dairy-free, and like limiting and cutting back on like red meat. So just like things like that. And then we also talked about, a probiotic, which I do take a probiotic already. So, that's good. I do need iron supplements because my iron is a little bit off. So, I am looking, I need it to be like a certain amount of milligrams, and she said you can get it like over the counter. But so far I have not found an iron like supplement or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I haven't found like an iron supplement that matches that. So I think she's supposed to be sending me like places where I can order it, maybe like offline. And then there's another one, I can't remember, but I have to go online to order this. And of course, you know, keep taking the biotin and collagen, which I am. But yeah, so the next one is like, I have to like go online and I have to put in like a code for a doctor, which they did give me the code. So I have to order that. I haven't looked into it quite yet, but I'm just really happy to be having answers. I know this is going to be like a journey. Like they did say that like it could take up to 2 years to really be able to notice much of a difference, you know, which is kind of, oops, in a way a little bit disheartening, because 2 years is like a really long time. Like if you think about it, like it doesn't, like in a way it doesn't seem like a long time, but like at the same time, like it does, when you just want to feel better, it just does feel like it's taking a long time. So I will have to keep repeating lab work every 6 to 8 weeks, making adjustments to my medications as needed. It's a lot, and I mean, I'm so glad I have answers, but it's just annoying to me that like every time I went to a doctor and was literally just like sitting here telling them like something is wrong, like I don't feel good, like I shouldn't feel like this, and then them just being like, oh, it's probably just your diabetes, or oh, it's because you're getting older, or oh, it's, you know, because of your hormones, or oh, it's because of like your antidepressants. And like I honestly just stopped my antidepressants because I was like, I don't want to keep feeling like this, you know, even though it's like, well, that's gonna suck because then your depression's gonna come back, and it's just like, you know, a lose-lose. It just felt like a lose-lose at that time. But to finally have somebody who listens to me, and I think I forgot to put on concealer. Okay. Well, I forgot to put on concealer. Whoops. That's what happens when you get too busy talking. Just to like have somebody there to help make you feel like you're not like going just like insane is just like so refreshing to me. And so I am starting to feel a little bit better about like what my next steps are going to be, and you know, hopefully I start to feel better. You know, I am trying like this anti-inflammatory diet. I'll tell you, it's like super hard. Just because like it just feels like everything has like gluten or dairy or just whatever in it. If any of you guys have ever done like dairy-free, gluten-free, what are some of your favorite like substitutes for those products? Like for gluten, what are some of your favorite like gluten-free options or gluten-free meals? If you guys are doing dairy-free, what are some of your favorite like dairy alternatives? Like that's just kind of what I want to know. What are some good alternatives? Let me know that down below in the comments. Okay. Well, these blushes are so dang pigmented. Whoa. OMG. Okay. Alright. Basically, like, the whole point of me, like, rambling incessantly is just to, like, let you guys know that, like, you may need to, like, really fight for answers, you know, and that, you know, I'm not gonna lie, like, that sucks that we're at this point where, like, we have to fight to get answers. But yeah, don't let anybody like make you like chalk it up to like it being something else, because you shouldn't have to, and I certainly shouldn't have had to, suffer for legitimate just years. I don't find that fair to me, to you, to anybody else that has gone through this, to just have to sit there and just like suffer for years. It's just, it's awful. Okay. So I'm going to go off camera, do like my lashes and stuff, because that does take me a while, my eyebrows, and then we'll come back and I will wrap everything up. Alright, so we are back with the lashes, brows on. So let's just finish off the lower lash line here. So basically, like, my whole point of just like coming on here was, if you guys are experiencing something similar in like your healthcare realm and something just doesn't feel right, definitely seek multiple opinions. Definitely, you know, demand more testing, demand that, you know, they do the imaging, they do the extra lab results, something like that. Because I don't think it's fair that anybody should have to suffer for years on end. I don't feel like it's fair that somebody should have to go through like the pain and the agony of not knowing and just thinking that like you're never going to get better, and causing frustration with your family, yourself. Because it's so easy to blame yourself. Like, maybe I'm just lazy and like I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, and that's not true. That's not true at all. You are definitely not going crazy. It's not you. So don't ever think that. So just, you know, if you're experiencing something similar, maybe if you're experiencing like similar symptoms, and you haven't been checked for like Hashimotos or Cushing's, ask your doctors. Ask them to run the test. Even if your TSH might show normal, because mine showed normal, but I still have the antibodies for the thyroid. So, you know, it's just definitely something to think about, and take away that you matter, and that your health care matters. You know, just know that like you guys matter, your health matters, and that if you aren't satisfied with what your doctors are telling you, then speak up, say something, which I know it can be hard, but yeah, make sure you guys are speaking up and saying something. I think that's a little bit too brown. Let's try this one from Huda. Let's see if that's going to work. There we go. A little our pink. So here's the completed and final look. Sorry, this is a little bit of a longer video. I'm definitely using a ton of like my favorite products, but I hope that this will help out somebody who might also be just like experiencing the same thing that I'm going through, and hopefully you guys can finally demand answers and get those answers. So I hope that this helped you out. I hope that you enjoyed this look, watching me get ready, because it does take me a long time to get ready. Not going to lie. Takes me a very good amount of time to get ready. So I hope that you enjoyed this look. Hope that you enjoyed the overall message, and just know that you matter, your health matters, and to fight for your health. But that is it. I hope that you all enjoyed. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Click the little bell to be notified of all my future uploads, and to join the dumpster fire. As well as if you have anybody that might be going through something similar, definitely share this video with them. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day.